Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pail, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jaylen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
Oh, he kept it rolling even after the loss. Okay, Amit. Fellas, how we doing?
Not bad.
Jimmy T.
To the playoffs.
Bobby Manning, Josue here after a Celtics L. Big one, 91-104. Ugly from the start. Couple of interesting things happened in this game. We'll get into them all. Giannis going down in this one. We'll get into that certainly, but that's probably the biggest thing to come out of this game is that Giannis went down with. I want to make sure.
What was the injury, Jimmy?
I want to make sure I get it right here. Giannis left the game with. Okay, we're calling it a calf strain on our show. I think the official left soleal something or other.
Come on, man. Say it with your chest. Come on, say it with some confidence.
I'm gonna look it up now. Damn it! Should have been prepared, but
you nailed it right before we started.
But I forget what it is.
Well, it's a part of the calf.
It's part of the calf. Absolutely, it's his left calf. He was just walking left soleus strain. So I said it right, soleus. He was just like walking after the Celtics scored, and all of a sudden just kind of fell to the ground, or you know. And so anytime you see that, a non-contact injury.
Left solar eclipse.
The last thing, left solar eclipse. There it is. It's exactly what it is.
Yes.
It's the last thing you want to see as a Bucks fan and as an NBA fan. So there was a
nickname for it. Yeah.
There was a tweet that came out. Somebody named Dr. Evan Jeffries at Game Injury Doc. He's a Twitter doctor at the very least. He said it looks like a calf strain and time of healing will be dependent on severity. Grade 1, 1 to 2 weeks. Grade 2, 3 to 6 weeks. Grade 3 likely out for the season / playoffs. So I think we all hope
it's a big win for them.
It's a grade 1 at worst, I think is what we all hope. But yeah, other than that, Bucks with a convincing win, I would say. And the Celtics went on their run when Giannis did leave the game. However, Bucks came out pretty hot in the fourth, and they re-extended that lead again, and they kept the Celtics at bay. It was a very slow start for Boston. You had Tatum and Brown missing just about everything in that first half. Tatum got hot in the third quarter, but still overall a down performance from those two. Bobby, you had mentioned it during the game, just some questionable decisions at times for those two. And Josue, I know you probably felt similar. And then one thing we got to say, guys, off the top, the stat of the year, maybe 0 free throw attempts for the Boston Celtics tonight, and just 2 free throw attempts for the Bucks. It's the first time ever that the Celtics have not taken a free throw in a game.
Any team.
So make of that what you will. Is it any team?
Any team. It's never happened in the NBA.
I knew it was Celtics. So history was made tonight. The Celtics just said, you know what? We're not gonna, try to draw fouls and go to the line. Although there were some plays at the rim where I thought could have gone either way. You could have called a foul, could have let it play, and the refs just swallowed the whistle and let them play tonight. So it was a physical game, but not a single damn free throw taken tonight. First time in NBA history.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's kind of laughable. I mean, it's laughable. I'm not going to get too fired up about it because the game's meaningless, but kind of unacceptable to not
how does that
get to the line a few times here, guys. What are we doing here?
Should there be a minimum? I'll take it in a game like this. You just want to get in and out of here, and that's probably what the refs are thinking because these teams.
Why get on the plane? I said.
Yeah, man. Everyone is taking.
I think that's what everyone's thinking right now. Joe Mazzulla has said they want to win all these games down the stretch. I think they've played like that. I think they've coached like it, and they've sat guys where the medical staff says they should. But other than that last game of the year where I think they'll probably sit everybody down, they're just going to play it out because they have a week off, Jimmy. You're going to get rusty if you sit for 2 weeks here. So you got to play it out. It's obviously half-hearted. There's nothing to play for right now. There's nothing to prove. I think Joe even said as much a game or two ago. There's 0 left for him to see from this starting group. They've figured everything out that they need to do. It's more about reacting to what opponents are going to do. And that's what I think you can pull from this game, if anything, is that the Bucks make an adjustment going in, put Patrick Beverley in the starting lineup. I haven't liked that Malik Beasley look for them all year, and it actually worked. I think they're 4-1 now when Beverley starts. He looked really good attacking the defense that was shading away from him. Usually they put Cornette on him in those second units and just have him float away from him, and he hit shots. But the most impressive thing he did is take the space that was given to him, and he would go in the lane and just fire off those hook shots, and he looked effective doing it. He did the same thing last game. I thought the Bucks looked pretty good against the Celtics last game as well, even in a loss. No Giannis, of course, in that game. So this is that balance we're striking here, Jimmy. I think the Bucks have played the Celtics well this year, but it's hard to believe if they're the 2 seed that they're going to reach the East Finals the way they've been playing overall this year. And so that's the debate we're going to have is, do you believe in this Bucks team at all? Because coming into the year, you're thinking it's these 2 teams, Eastern Conference Finals is inevitable. Josue, I feel like there's no chance this team makes the East Finals as a 2 seed.
Yeah, that's a really tough road for these guys if you're looking at the potential opponents. But yeah, I mean, I just think when you look at what happened today, between Doc Rivers essentially calling guys out, what was it, about a week ago or so, the team just not being able, it doesn't even matter who they're playing against. They just haven't been able to close games or come away with a win. So I just feel like they were really coached up for this game, in a big way. The way Doc Rivers sort of just has particular games circled on his calendar, not necessarily as quote unquote, benchmarks or whatever, or not benchmark, but not necessarily as like, oh, let's see how good we are compared to this team. But it was more of a, hey, let's win this game no matter what, at all costs. And with no Porzingis and no Al Horford, the team just looked very different out there in terms of what they're trying to do, offensively and especially on defense. I just felt like it had like a preseason vibe to it. It seemed like these guys were kind of just like going through the motions, like going through sets. I mean, the Celtics defense looked like a turnstile out there, so it doesn't surprise me that not only did the Celtics not get to the free throw line, but the Bucks only got a couple. You know what I mean? And they only they were whistled for 4 fouls, I believe, is what I'm reading, which is I think they tied the minimum or the fewest in franchise history.
Fewest ever in an NBA game. 4 fouls committed by the Bucks tonight.
Is that in an NBA game or their franchise?
No, in an Milwaukee. So 4 fouls is the fewest ever in an NBA game.
It's just a weird game. I mean, clearly they were letting these guys play, but at the same time, I mean, you look at we've seen this version of the Celtics before. It's just like that effort just wasn't there at all, and it came and went. I felt like, but after Giannis went down, they did have a chance somewhat to get to make it a 2-possession game or so, and they just weren't able to do it. At that, even in the fourth quarter, I think it was still about 12-point game or so. But
yeah, I don't take anything from the Celtics in this one, Jimmy. It's meaningless. There's nothing to play for in this game. You're probably experimenting still on different stuff as they have been. I think Porzingis said a week ago or so that they're doing stuff people don't even see, just trying to fool around and figure out what works. And Joe said it's a little more deliberate than that, and it's stuff that they've been doing all year, just at a higher volume. But you knew this was coming, and they happened last time they were up here too. It was a similar situation where you have a built-in excuse, 5 games in 7 days. They're blowing off the court. I was actually surprised Joe didn't pull the starters at halftime again. And he ends up pulling them about midway through the fourth quarter there after that awful Tatum turnover. But a one-off road trip like this against a team that really needed it. And again, the Bucks really needed this. Magic pulling within a game of them. Knicks pulling within a game of them. 4 straight losses. This was desperation time for them. And they came out, all the sloppiness Josue mentions valid, but they came out firing. Lopez hit 4 threes right now.
Those threes in the first, yeah, man. First quarter, yeah.
In control for most of this game. Giannis was assertive. He had that awesome chase down block on Brown midway through the game. So they played with some fire. It was a great crowd. And they do some things that bother the Celtics, Jimmy. There's no doubt about it. The shooting, the drop defense, taking away the paint, all that's going to be interesting to watch if these two teams meet in a series. But again, it's just so hard to believe that the Bucks are just gonna flip a switch. Flipping a switch, Jimmy, is something that teams that have been together for years do. Won a championship, you're a little bored with the regular season. The Cavs did it all the time after that 16 title. You don't just put a team together on a dime like this, not figure anything out in the first regular season, and then the playoffs just say, all right, it's go time, and then look amazing. I just can't picture it.
No, I've always been a huge proponent of not being able to just assume the switch is going to be turned on. All that being said, though, the Celtics lost this one. I think we all kind of thought that they might lose this one. That being said, I would have liked to have seen some things a little bit differently. I mean, you are getting minutes from Tillman. You're still getting Hauser minutes. You're getting Pritchard minutes. Like
Tillman and
things.
Cornette didn't have great nights. Yeah.
Cornette was getting, and I thought the Celtics were slow on rotations. I thought the Bucks were getting to the rim a little bit easier and backdoor cuts and things like that, where you want to see them, even though there's nothing on the line for the Celtics and there's still a lot on the line for the Bucks. You'd still like to see them compete a little bit harder if they're going to be out there anyways. That's just human nature. You should want to compete.
Right.
I'll be honest, it reminded me what the Bucks are capable of when they are playing good basketball. And I said this to you guys. It's hard to sleep on a Bucks team that has, when healthy, and that's going to be the huge thing now with Giannis. But with Giannis and Lillard, I mean, you can't deny those two guys' greatness. Giannis has his championship. Lillard obviously doesn't yet. But that's a 1-2 punch that when they're on their game, it's hard to beat, And obviously you could say Tatum Brown and you can say, Murray, Jokic, but you got to put Lillard and Giannis right up there at the top. So that's why, Bobby, I don't think I'm as confident as you are that the Bucks won't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, even though they have struggled throughout the course of this year. And there's a lot of reasons to believe that they won't, go to the NBA Finals or win a title again. I still think they can catch fire. And I still think the East is wide open. And, like the Sixers, they're dealing with injuries with Embiid. And you've got the Knicks who are now dealing with injuries. Like there's a path for the Bucks to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I don't think anybody would be shocked to see that happen. So when the two teams meet, as they have recently, and the Bucks, do their thing against Boston in multiple instances, whether or not you think that means anything or not, because the Celtics might not be giving it their all, it's still something to take note of. It's still something to call back on and to say, okay, yeah, like this isn't just a bunch of slouches. This is, even Middleton. God, if Middleton just decides that he wants to be Middleton and Celtics killer again, like that's a completely different basketball team. And yeah, maybe that's a big but because he hasn't been the Middleton of, past seasons or past,
since
3, 4, 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know it's in there, and I saw him do a nice little move over Pritchard tonight.
I like the way he's looked this year. It's not
Middleton.
It's not old Chris, but it's better than the last couple of years.
Right. And I mean, Pat Beverly, again, a little bit undersized and kind of hit and miss.
I love him. I really
He's got a great attitude, good,
Yeah.
pest guy out there. He will certainly bring the intensity in the playoff atmosphere. And there's a lot of things to still like if you're a Bucks fan. Obviously, this all goes, without saying that Giannis has to be healthy, and who knows how that's going to end up playing out. Hopefully he is. I want to see healthy. I want to see
How do you feel about the coach?
Matchup. Doc is Doc, man. I don't think Doc is ever gonna be the reason you win or ultimately lose. I think he's a player's coach. As
I
people
love
have
him to
always
death,
said.
Jimmy. It's
I
just
do too.
the results are
But-
stacking up so heavily against him.
Maybe, but it's
And
also
he's in a tough
really
spot
he
this
was
year,
putting it.
Josue.
It's
Yeah,
also
this
very
is a tough
difficult.
spot. We got to reserve that grade for next year, But
It's
unfortunately,
difficult for anybody.
not
to
always
come
the
in like
case.
that.
I mean, even something like this, if they're a first round knockout, would you guys be shocked if they say, you know what, Doc, we're gonna go a different route? I mean, it really depends, I guess, on Giannis.
No, I
how
wouldn't
he
be
feels
shocked at
about it.
all.
But I don't think that would be fair. But we've seen this before in the NBA, so it wouldn't shock me. But yeah, he deserves at least another full.
This is a good way to put
one
it.
full season, I should say, because this was like right before the All-Star break. This was
Right.
This was messy, in more ways than one. But yeah.
I mean, it's been a very interesting year for the Bucks, and obviously the head coach switch that kind of came out of nowhere highlights that whole thing. And certainly, things haven't really necessarily gotten better since that's happened. I think the Bucks are right around 500, if that, with Doc as the head coach. I think they came into this one maybe
Back
one
in,
or two below.
Doc's consultant days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
But
crazy.
that comment just said it. It's going to be a checkers match between Joe and Doc in the Eastern Conference Finals. So it's not as if the
16
Celtics.
and 17 as
There you
Bucks
go. It's a
coach.
game below. So, it comes down to, we say it comes down to talent in this league more than anything. Sure, it's nice to have a great coach, Spoelstra and Popovich, and you can go down the line with some really good coaches, Kerr. But those guys also have, in at least some cases, Kerr, tons of talent. And at the end of the day, the players have to go out there and play the game. And Doc or Joe, theoretically, shouldn't be the reason they win or lose a series. They can probably lose you a series before they can win you a series, both of them.
I think you're more worried just because of how the bracket's lining up about Miami, about Philly, about that looming first round series that's looking about as tough as a first round series can be than this Bucks team reaching through. Because, again, they're in the same spot you are kind of, right? Because it's going to be Sixers Heat probably in that play-in game. The winner's going to move on to the Bucks if the Bucks clinch the 2 seed. And so you're talking about a Heat-Bucks rematch. Obviously, the Heat took that last year, injured Giannis, but now he's injured again. And then Philly Bucks. That's tough too. Is Giannis ready to stand in there with Embiid, who's looking really good since he's been back, with a leg that isn't 1,000% right? If he's ready to even go for a first round series at all. Time's on Giannis' side here. We obviously don't know what it is, but you get that whole next week off. This win again, so huge for them to get that 2-game cushion on 2. They have a tiebreaker over the Knicks, but they have to play the Magic twice before the season ends. So they got to probably just take one of those Magic games, and they should be good at 2. So, again, they're not in your bracket. Celtics going to play that 4-5 series round 2. So you're talking about this team having to figure it out, Jimmy, if the Celtics going to see them. They're not just going to – I guess they could win like 2 6-7 game series and just sneak into these finals, kind of play like they have all year. But I'm not betting on it. I just –
Who's your favorite then?
I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks all year.
Even with the injuries?
Wow. Yeah. That was my favorite before the injuries.
I think they have a mentality. I think they have a clutch player at the point of attack who can steal games. I think they have a great wing defender who's back now, an OG. And Mitchell Robinson's back now as well. So you're not going to get Randall back. But Josue, you know how Randall's played in the playoffs. It's not like he was actually an asset to them.
Yeah, obviously they don't need him. He's trash.
No, they need him, but he has struggled immensely in the postseason. So it's going to be a different dynamic this year.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, Bob. I was going to say it's unfortunate because that's something that he can have under his belt. That he needs that experience. He needs those reps. He needs those opportunities to get back into it. Like I don't know. I feel like since that 1 year where it was like, oh, he's quiet his naysayers. He
was on a bad team that first run, and then this last one wasn't great. I think he was banged up.
But I feel like about 2 months ago or so, when like the hype was at its highest with the New York Knicks and they're back and all that, like that's good for these guys and it's good for the league. Let's be honest, man. I was kind of hoping we'd see like a Celtics Knicks matchup, second round series. Maybe I run into Miss New York Knick. You know what I mean? Who knows? Like,
oh God, that's Mrs. New York Knicks.
The way the season started, that would have been a great, full circle moment. And I've never. I mean, Jimmy and I, we saw that first round matchup against the Celtics, Celtics Knicks, but we rarely see Celtics and Knicks in the playoffs.
By the way, to this guy, the Pacers have dominated, and you said this, Jimmy, the Pacers have dominated the Bucks this year.
They have. That would be a tough one for the Bucks to end up with in the first round. Before we get too wrapped up in matchups, I want to just circle back to this game, and we do have a clip here from Coach Mazzulla.
This is going to drive everybody crazy.
Well, let's see. This is Coach Joe after the game here.
What we got?
No, I think it's good for us to be in a bunch of different situations. So, like, that was the first time where, like, the game wasn't going our way since, I don't remember when. You know what I mean? So, like, to me, it's like that's a good opportunity to just kind of play through that, find different ways to create runs, find different ways to just, build stuff on either end of the floor. So I thought it was a good situation for us to be in because we hadn't seen it in a while. So it's good for us to be in that.
I mean, maybe it's true. At the same time, is anything ever bad?
No, nothing is ever bad.
Of course he's going to say that.
Everything is awesome. Yeah, he's got spin. He's got like a spin machine, man. He can spin any negative into like
one of these nights.
learning experience.
I'll pick the right game to say, Coach, is it
Again,
ever,
you don't have to kill your team.
Right, but is it ever something that you were like,
Is there
man,
something you
that
can work
was
on? Is
bad,
there something
was
that you're
terrible.
struggling with?
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't use those type of vocab, that type of vocabulary when it's always like promising or it's impressive or whatever. It's never like amazing, and the sky's never falling. But yeah, that's Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else he could spin it. I mean, in his defense,
I don't
it was
need him to
it was
kill
a
them
different
tonight,
situation.
But
it was I wasn't expecting.
Here's the thing, Jimmy, and I heard something on the broadcast that intrigued me a little bit because I haven't heard him say this in a presser or anything. I guess he told the broadcast, or whenever they came across this, he doesn't approach the playoffs any differently than the regular season. Like, it's just all going to be the same thing for him. At least how I heard that.
Interesting.
I don't think that's a great way to approach it, right? And they had these situations last postseason, right? And it's a complete. I hate comparing this year to last year because it's the teams are so different. But when you get into real trouble if you have a loss like this in the playoffs, not saying that they're going to, but if you do, you can't come out after that game and just be like, "Oh, it was great to go through this," and we're going to learn from this. And but I said that to Josue throughout the last postseason, and you're gonna get to a point in the playoffs. And they did last year down 3-0, where you can't just be like, "Oh, everything's fine. On to the next game. We're good."
Yeah, you did bring that up. That's right, Bobby. Yeah. After game 3, he completely changed his demeanor.
And they came back from that, and the even keeled approach to me, Jimmy's good to some degree, right? Because you're not panicking, whether you're down 3-0 or whether you're down 20 in a game. Like, you're just nonchalant about it, and you can just approach it one possession at a time. So I think that's the good part of it. But at the same time, I think sometimes you have to be pissed about something that doesn't go well. And that's, again, tonight's not the time, but this is just how Mazzulla is always approached coaching this team, is that everything's always a lesson. Everything's great. He loved, going through this bad loss, and, there's never any time where he doesn't like how the team played or responded or approached the situation.
I think you need to.
That's Joe's mentality.
You need to have more of a sense of urgency in the playoffs. Simple as that. I mean, this is not the regular season where you can afford to lose a game or lose 2 in a row or play like crap. Right. Or not that happened a lot for them this year, to be completely honest, right? So I'm not saying get away from everything you did in the regular season, because certainly you had success, but other teams are going to be changing their mentality once the playoffs come around. You need to match their intensity. You need to match, that level of, whatever they're bringing on the other end. So you can't just approach every game like you approach the regular season. I think you have to take it game by game. What is that game going to need? And so that's how I would if I was Joe. But I'm not. Well, so Joe's going to do what Joe's going to Joe, right? Before we get into the next thing, guys, also huge announcement that I'm going to make after this ad read about the champion of the CLNS.
There was a UConn style finish to the
March
Report bracket.
Yes, yes, there was.
In the business is what we call a tease. Good job, Jimmy. That was good.
It is. Before that, though, we want to tell everybody about PrizePicks.
You usually get
what
it
is
right
PrizePicks?
before you pay the bills.
Yeah, exactly, Josue. We got to keep the people listening. So PrizePicks, guys, it's America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members.
Great
it's
app.
The easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more players' stats and watch the winnings roll in. Look at this cool graphic we're running now, too. Gives you guys an idea of what it looks like. Super cool, super easy. App takes about 2 seconds to download, and then you're off to running. And right now with the promo code CLNS, you can get a 100% deposit match up to $100. It's just as easy as picking more or less. Obviously, college basketball is over. Shout out UConn, but NBA playoffs are right around the corner. We're in our last few games of the regular season here. Maybe you can do some, pick more on a couple of bench guys that might be getting some more playing time over the next couple of games. But you've got basketball, you've got the hockey playoffs, you've got baseball is going strong. Although the Red Sox got smoked today, but they're still playing.
Jimmy, did you have more? Well. Did you have more or less than one Cornet 3 today?
Definitely less. Definitely less. I was
you had
expecting.
less, Bob. Everyone did.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, my editor over at Celtics blog, Bill Sy, out of the blue coming into this game said, I think Luke's going to take and make his first 3 of the season tonight. And he did.
Said that?
Yep.
That's a hell of a prediction.
0 3-point attempts coming into tonight for Cornet. He took one tonight and he nailed it.
You got told to play prize.
Did you jump out of your seat?
No.
Yes,
I wasn't watching I had to watch it on replay, but
damn.
Yeah,
all right. Well,
I would have if I saw it live.
But Bobby was like, this is the night. Cornet's gonna have himself a night today.
So Wednesday night, Celtics play the Knicks, I believe, right? And everyone get on PrizePicks and hit more for Luke, whatever it is, points, rebounds,
that's another fun one.
3-pointers. That is a fun one. So download the app today, and we use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's CLNS code for a 100% deposit match up to $100. Drum roll, please, everybody. Because
we got.
What we're going to
Speaking
do
of
now.
Luke.
Oh, I don't want the Tillman thing. Damn it. Drum roll, please, because we do have the results of the 2024 Garden Report March Madness. Your champion is. He's your third center.
Knew it. Yes.
Belt right here.
With the
What do you want for your third center? There you go. What do you want for your third center? Do we have the clip originally? Yeah, we have it right here. Let's play it real quick. Remind everybody.
Here we go. Here's the champion.
Here's the moment it all happened. Come on, producer boy. It's loading.
I know. I feel like we need to talk more before this. Okay, we go.
We got to let this thing load again. All right, let's give it a second.
There it goes.
We'll give it a second. But anyways, so he's your third center. Apparently really beat the bricks off Luke's lemon squares. It was just
Luke's lemon square is a little old at this point. I mean, it had great staying power to even reach the finals.
It's been around. And listen, I will say he's your third center, kind of played the role of NC State where they got hot, right, going into the tournament and they rode it all the way, but NC State couldn't seal the deal. He's your third center could, and that's going to be your reigning. That's going to be your champion throughout.
I'm still pissed we didn't see third center versus the Fart. I think that could have been a finals level matchup in the Final Four.
I think that Herman Gomez region was just stacked. There are a couple of really good ones that somebody had to win. Let's see. We'll try it again here. The origin of he's your third center. If we can get this freaking thing to work. Why isn't this working?
Luke, what do you want? What do you want us to do? Cut him? He gets really.
Yeah. What do you want for your third center? He's your third center, John.
I hate the Luke talk and I hate the Tillman talk.
We keep criticizing this guy.
What do you want from him?
And done more than anyone has ever expected, except me. He's your third center. That's what we get.
I love it.
What do you want for your third center? Right and there it is. So
I think we're gonna have a T-shirt coming.
I think we might T-shirt, stickers, maybe put it on a mug. We gotta get Josue to. What do you want for your third center? Amit's a little drop happy right now. He's gonna be playing that for the rest of the night. All right. So congrats to Luke on that, at least, and his first 3-pointer of the year tonight. We got a clip here from Doc Rivers. Speaking of Doc Rivers, I think this is talking about Giannis and the concern level.
Question. High, I would say that. But Giannis, I think everyone probably feels the same way as I do right now. So we're just going to hope for the best.
Ooh.
Yikes. High. So little change of tune, I think, from the in-game.
It was a little It was a little bit of an ominous sight, wasn't it, Josue? It looked like some of those other injuries we've seen over the years. But again,
It's
tough
funny
to
'cause
tell.
Bobby and I, we were just talking about the back when KG got hurt in 09. What was that, a couple months ago? Where we were at the Garden, and that's the scariest part of it is when it's non-contact, right? When it's similar to what happened to Garnett. Went for a rebound, came down, and just popped. You know what I
This
mean?
was even less than that. He was just breaking into his run and then boom.
Yeah, he was just in his stride. That's a good point. Yeah, but a lot of no contact happen on your own. Historically, those are usually the more devastating ones. But
I'm thinking more Durant. You saw Durant in those finals come up lame, or I think even before the finals. I think it was the West Finals that year. Missed some time with the calf strain, come back pretty quickly for the finals, and then tear his Achilles. So I don't know. Anytime you hear calf, you start to worry about Achilles, and even the calf itself can cost some time. So again, they're going to be extremely cautious with this. I can't imagine him playing again in the regular season. If he needs to miss time into that first round, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to keep him healthy, especially long term. So this is a scary one if you're the Bucks and you haven't figured it out.
I mean, they're toast. They're obviously toast if they get Giannis at less than 100%, right, or even close to it. But you're right, Bobby. I mean, there's
and you can't play around with it.
Highly unlikely that he's going to touch the court until the playoffs. Yeah, so he's got what, 2 and a half, 2 weeks off now to rest it. You got to hope that it's a grade 1 and that, you know, maybe he can give it a go and you know, for the start of wherever they end up playing in the opening round. But other than that, that's tough. You know, there's
the Gnosis time.
No team can overcome something like that. Obviously,
between now and the start of the playoffs, it's the Gnosis time.
I mean, it's Lloyd. Lloyd's got to put this team on his shoulders now.
It doesn't. You know, there is no. He didn't come here to put it on his shoulders. He came here to sit on Giannis' shoulders, man.
And it's just another man. When it rains, it pours. And for Damian Lillard, like, jeez,
yeah.
You know, you're trying to find some momentum going into the postseason, and then this happens. Like, you beat the best team in the NBA, you mock them all over the floor, and then it's like, oh, you still can't sleep at night, you know? Like, poor Dame. He's already opened up. He's already
a Bucks second round matchup, Bobby.
Miserable he's been in that city. He's pretty much damn near depressed and playing video games. All he does because he's like, man, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
They could fall to 4.
Teams in the East.
Tonight makes it a little more difficult, though. I mean, again, this is a big win for them in the standings. I can't see them falling to 4. I think they're going to be 2. But, you know, if you lose out, it's possible.
Right. No, anything's possible. Who is 3 right now?
It was the Magic coming into the day, but they lost, and I believe the Knicks won. So it's going to be the Knicks.
Okay. I wanted to put up. Let's put Jaylen Brown up here because we had a super chat come through that I missed earlier, and I might as well toss it up now so you guys can answer it. What's the concern meter on Brown in the left hand? Do you think it's time for him to sit the final 3 games?
No.
That was, again, after.
We've been through this already.
Thank you, Jared.
Not a real.
Brown, 14 points, 7 of 19 from the field. Didn't hit a 3 tonight. 10 boards.
I mean, maybe that last one. You know, I don't think any of the stars will be playing that last game against the Wizards. But outside of that, get some reps going. You know, especially since you passed the eye test initially, your first game back from the injury, and you know,
I wouldn't say you looked very good tonight, though.
Well, not tonight. 2 nights ago, I should say. I'm saying like the game when he first came back from missing games because of this. Everyone's kind of like, okay, let's see what he looks like. So I think he kind of spelled any concerns, you know, between now until something else happens or whatever. But yeah, I just think that he really convinced us already in his first game back.
Right.
Yeah, I'm done talking about the hand.
Oh, you're done talking
Bobby.
about it.
I mean, what are we going to do?
Take away Bobby's part of that super chat. Like, my man Jared trying to chime in here.
Jared.
No, here's
Jared. I appreciate it, Jared. But
yeah,
Bobby,
we're not going to.
Scott, appreciate you.
I'm going to be John tonight. We're not going to, after every game he plays great the rest of the way.
He did ask for the
Jaylen.
concern meter.
And
he asked for the concern meter. It's actually a panic meter. So you're at Bobby. Bobby, you're at Bobby.
Oh, I see
level.
what you're saying, Bobby. You're just saying he just played.
I don't
poorly.
think the
But
hand is what's
don't
going
make
to swing.
excuses. Don't
Yeah,
make
no,
excuses for him. Yeah.
yeah. So if he plays great,
Actually
it's
making
not
fun
going
of
to
Jay.
be woo. And then when he plays bad, it's not going to be, oh, it's the hand. Like that's
Right.
we're not doing that in the
We're
play,
not doing
especially with
that,
like a
no.
week off
Right.
here after this. There's zero concern about the hand to me.
Yeah, that's
We
fair.
ain't doing it. Okay, so what, if any, concerns right now, April 9th, 2024, do you have about this Celtics team with 3 regular season games to go? Do you have any?
I just want to I just want to see what kind of tricks Joe Mazzulla has in his bag at the end of the games in the playoffs. Not in this week or in the upcoming games and all that. Like when he says that whole like everything we do now, there's no changing or there's no adding a special, sets or whatever in the playoffs. I hope he's lying to us because, I mean, as he should be, you don't have to go out there and be like, hey, look out for the postseason, man. I want to have all these tricks lined up and all that. No, I'm not saying you have to go out and say that, but I just hope he has that in his bag. And obviously, it's not just him. Same way he credits his coaching staff every single time he receives an accolade for Coach of the Month and being a candidate for Coach of the Year, he gives those guys credit, and it's rightfully so, right? But these guys have experience between Charles Lee, champion assistant coach, Sam Cassell, champion as a player, been around the league for over a decade now. Became assistant coach right after winning that last championship in 2008 with the Celtics. Like, they can come up with some stuff. You know what I mean? Between the 3 of those guys, like, there's no reason why we should see some type of play at the end that doesn't always end with Tatum, and let's hope he makes a shot. Derek White, you can get involved in there as well. Drew Holiday, Kristaps, who sometimes I feel like barely touches the ball if there's less than a minute left on the clock. So I think that's the only one that I can really think of that's hanging out, still there until further notice when the playoffs start.
Yeah, it's crunch time, like Josue said. They haven't played well in those spots all year. They've had some notable slip-ups in those situations over the last month or 2 here. So they're not going to have a game left, I don't think. Maybe Thursday if everybody plays as their kind of last hurrah before the playoffs. Maybe that ends up being your crunch time. I know the Knicks got a big win tonight, close-ish game against Chicago. But odds are you have no crunch time finishes, last second finishes left this regular season. So those couple games in Atlanta were kind of a sour taste to leave off on. So can you win those close games that grind down to the final seconds? Because I don't care how good this team looked during the regular season. You're not going to go through the playoffs, Jimmy, without crucial games that are 1-2 possessions in the final minute or two. That's just the name of the game in the playoffs. So you got to find ways to win those. You got to have more flexibility in those spots, as Josue said. It's the only issue you can predict with this team. And listen, I know, John, we were on our thread earlier. We're saying playoff regular season, it's tough to anticipate what teams are going to look like on the other side of that because the game's so different. But I think outside of crunch time, the Celtics have just dominated and done it in so many different ways offensively that you believe in them on that end. The defense, I think overall has met the mark this year. They've maybe had a few slip-ups in recent weeks here, and rebounding in different spots hasn't been as good as it should be. But I think on the whole this year and at full health going into the playoffs, I think you have enough flexibility defensively to play at the highest level. In fact, I think if you really lock in on defense, you can be the best defense in the playoffs by far with the personnel you have. So offense, I feel good about. Defense, I feel good about. It's just crunch time, like Josue said. That's the only issue you can anticipate this team running into. I guess the only other one is, even if we throw out this matchup, if it happens down the line, is Tatum the best player in a series, in every series? Because that's part of the playoff dynamic too, is usually the best player in the series is going to win it. That could be a question round 1 right away. If you're playing the Heat, who Butler has outplayed, where Butler has outplayed Tatum in the past. Embiid is capable, talent-wise, of doing it. He hasn't done it in their many meetings so far, so I wouldn't be as concerned about him, especially coming off an injury. But you have Giannis, if he's healthy, and some other guys in this postseason, even a Jaylen Brunson, who has just been phenomenal all year. So I guess that's the only other one is, can Tatum be the best player in a series every single round because he's going to have to win a championship. But he's also going to have to trust this incredibly deep team they've put around him as well.
That's a great question, Bobby, because I feel like when
Jokic, obviously, too.
This past week or so with the comparisons with the old team, well, I guess now it's out the window since they lost this game. The 66 wins is not in play, but there was a question that was presented when I was on when I was on EEI over the weekend, and then I presented it to Max. I kind of been trying to see everyone's take on it. I'm going to ask you guys, like, where do you, in terms of like comparing the two teams? And I know it's hard because they're very different, in the sense of they already had future Hall of Famers on that squad. They're already hovering around the 30s or over the 30s and all that. So there's a lot of different things you can take away when you compare them. But one of the things that stands out, and I wonder if it's going to happen in the playoff because I've seen it time and time again when the Celtics are worse, and that's just like that defensive turnstile, I call it, or whatever, where it's just like, what's going on right now? Why can't they get a stop? And they just can't stop the bleeding. And then all of a sudden it's like 22-3 run or something crazy or wacky like that. Like that happens a lot throughout the regular season, or at least in games where they've looked awful. And I just wonder if that's ever going to happen in the playoffs, especially in those first couple of rounds against some of these East Coast teams that Celtics are already heavily favored against. And and then another part of it, if you ask me, is in terms of the differences between that old team and this team. The other part of it is what we're going to see out of Tatum. Like, is he going to just go off the way he had? And listen, I get it. He has a track record. He has some historic performances already, under his belt. But will he take it to another level? And if that's the case, man, we could be into something. We could be in for a very, very special postseason. One of those playoffs where we look back and say, man, like this dude brought it every series. Like he really quieted the people that were questioning his heart and all that stuff. And I guess some of that talk has died down a bit, but it's sort of still there though, right? Moments where people say like, man, he's got to be more rah-rah, or he's got to rally the troops more often, comparing his personality to trying to be someone he's not. That's something that we've talked about in the past, but I just wonder how it all comes together for Tatum, especially on nights where it's like, man, you got it on right now. You're the best player in this series, and it's not even close. Like, will he reach that level? It's in the cards. It could happen for sure. I mean, we've seen it before. So,
for me, it's just no more teaching moments, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. If you're Mazzulla, that's why you can't go in with the same.
It's go
mentality.
time.
Yeah,
right.
We can't be talking about good lessons learned and this and that. Like that. That's regular season mentality. That's the positive spin
absolutely.
that you want to have. So for me, it's like, you better have learned all your lessons. You have 3 more games to learn the rest of them. And then, there's no more teaching moments here. This is the
would be
time
great,
where you
Jimmy.
practice what you've learned. What's that?
Just like 2022, we had a similar team rolling into the playoffs with all this momentum, and you felt great about them. Just smoke the team you see right off the bat, even if it's Miami or Philly. Winning 4, winning 5. That would change everything, right? Not only for us, we'll be looking at them and going, "Ooh, all right, I'm believing in this a little more now." But also for them, like that'll change everything for them. You get by that Miami team, that's really the only team outside of Denver that has your number right now, and you do it in that decisive of a fashion. I mean, who can mess with you mentally from that point on, in the East at least?
That's why I want them to play Miami, man. That'd be great because it would kind of, I mean, let's face it, going into the offseason, it could lead to some drastic changes in Miami. Like you could really like put them into a tailspin right now if the Celtics were to knock them out in the first round.
There was a report today, Jimmy.
This is how far you guys are from it.
There was a report today, I think in Yahoo, maybe. I don't know exactly who reported. Oh, actually, the Ira Winderman, who covers the Heat down there. Jimmy Butler's going to want Jaylen Brown money, if not more.
Oh, is that so? I bet he does.
He's been hanging.
I don't know if he's
soccer stars too much, man. They must have gotten his head like, yo, you need to get that bag, Jimmy.
How old is he now?
I think 34.
He's not getting Jaylen Brown money. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it'll be 35 next season.
Yeah.
I mean, he can get paid for the next couple of years for sure. But what are we really talking about here? But
they might have no choice. We'll see.
So
I was gonna say
76ers
though,
win. What's up?
right
What were you gonna
now,
say?
I don't know after tonight because this doesn't update until overnight, but 26% chance the Celtics see the Heat round one, 25% chance they see the Sixers.
So it's a toss up.
Yeah,
think it's
but
one of those two.
50% chance effectively.
49% chance
Yeah.
they see 6 other teams. Well, Sixers won tonight. Pacers won tonight. Heat won tonight. Knicks won tonight. Magic lost tonight, so they were the lone team in any sort of running that didn't keep pace with everybody else. But yeah, that middle of the pack there, that 3, 4, 5, that can just go any which way right now. You know, Magic, Knicks, Cavs. You got the Pacers there at 6. We're not going to know, guys. We're not going to know until what
Sunday.
a week ago. Well, obviously, we're not going to know until the play-in game is over. But we're not even going to know what those games are until Sunday, right? I mean,
Yeah, right.
it's really coming down to.
I mean, Hawks Bulls is set, and again, the Pacers won again tonight,
Yeah,
so their
Hawks
magic
Bulls is
numbers
set, yeah.
too. I think you can just bet on it being Sixers Heat 7-8 at this point. I think it's that set in stone. There's a, let's say, 42% chance that the Sixers are the 7 seed going into that. 50% chance that the Heat are the 8 seed going into it. So it's pretty much. I mean, that Pacers win over the Heat almost set it in stone on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to really see an Indiana collapse, Orlando collapse, Cleveland collapse, and I think everything's going to stay pretty much the same. You're probably going to see like a Magic Pacers, Magic Cavs first round, and like a Knicks Pacers, Knicks Cavs, Knicks Magic kind of first round.
Here it is. Did you put this up, Bobby?
No, I think that was Amit.
I'm going to playoff picture here for those watching on YouTube right now. As
So
you
again,
can
this
see,
sometimes gets confusing for people.
yeah.
The
Break it down,
Sixers-
Bobby.
The Sixers are going to play the Heat, or whoever's 7 or 8. It's probably going to be Sixers Heat. Whoever wins that's going to move on to 2, which is probably going to be the Bucks. The loser of that will play the winner of Bulls Hawks. The loser of Bulls Hawks is obviously out, and then
Right.
the winner of, let's say, Hawks Heat plays the Celtics.
Or Bulls Heat.
Which I thought was going to happen
Yeah.
last year, but it didn't.
It's kind of a shame that the Bulls and the Hawks even have a chance.
Right.
to
There
go
should
into
be
the
a
playoffs.
cutoff, right? If
It
you're
did-
this far below.
Yeah,
The other
it didn't
team
work this
seems-
year in the
yeah.
East. Out West, it worked exactly how I imagine everyone in the NBA offices wanted it, because you have Lakers, Warriors as the 9 and 10 teams right now. So you're giving them an opportunity to make the playoffs. And obviously that would be a boost for ratings if either of those teams made it over, the Pelicans and the Kings. Although we like the young guys on those teams. Like if you're an NBA junkie, you like that. But if you're a casual, you're obviously Lakers, Warriors. So it works out in the West for the NBA, but out in the East, I mean, does anybody want the Bulls or the Hawks to be in the playoffs anyways? Hell no. So
Amit wants the Hawks.
that's true. Amit does want the Hawks for his own selfish reasons, I think. But I think for entertaining standpoint, I think we can all agree a series against the Sixers.
I want
or
the Heat. Josue wants the
be-
Heat. Jimmy, you want the Heat too, right?
I want the Sixers
Really?
for
I just
entertainment purposes.
For entertainment
or-
purposes, it's good. For competitiveness reasons, it's good. But man, you're just gonna
The
get
Heat
knocked
bore
to
me.
hell.
I know. I'm just talking about entertainment value. I mean, I guess if you can beat the crap out of the Heat and exercise that demon, that'd be cool too. But I like the Boston Philly like rivalry kind of
It
thing.
feels
The
too early for it.
cities.
Go play them in the East Finals.
Oh, it's not going to happen. I don't think this year.
Yeah,
You
You
have
don't
the
think they
squad
could
this
beat the
year.
Bucks?
Well, if Giannis is
The
hurt, they can. But if
the
Giannis is
Sixers.
playing, I think they can. Yeah, sure, they can.
That'd be
I
a
would still-
monster first round.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. No, I mean, if Philly
It's crazy that they're the 7 and the 8 seed.
Embiid's
Right.
playing pretty well, right? 2?
Yeah, he's 27-7 and 3
It's like
so far.
So there
he
you
hasn't
go.
missed a beat. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, they're definitely a team that's playing better and that is better than their seed right now.
Seed, yeah.
Um,
They would be what 3-4 if Embiid never got hurt.
yeah, I think
So
that
they're
they
the
were right.
scary one.
They were right in that 3-4 range. Guys, it's April. We've had like, I don't know where everyone's watching from right now, but in the New England area, we've had like really nice back-to-back days here for the first time like all year.
And guess what, Jimmy?
Couple of 60-degree days. What's that, Bob?
I golfed yesterday.
Did you really?
Yep.
Well, if you did, I hope prior to that you went to pxg.com/garden and bought a bunch of stuff and saved
Me and
10%
Josue have our gear already.
on all
Yeah, we do.
apparel. Do you?
That's
Where
fucking
is it?
hat.
I want to see that hat. Josue, go get that hat. I'm gonna finish this.
So go get it.
Yeah, you should go get it. Anyways, pxg.com/garden, save 10% on all apparel, not just hats, guys, but you've got the zip ups, the polos, you've got the pants. Look at this. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you get a nice little reel of all the different apparel options that PXG now offers. You guys know them as a great golf club company, but they're now in the apparel game. Obviously, Bobby, what'd you get?
Got a nice white shirt, white hat.
Okay.
You know, the college shirt, you're seeing them here.
Polo.
Good polo for the course, and you need one of those hats when
Breathable?
it's sunny out. Yeah. Nice and lightweight. Good to swing in. Felt good with the
Quality.
swing.
Yeah. The arms are free in it.
Yep. And here comes
All right,
Josue with
so
the hat.
The hat is fire,
nice.
but
Just
the
in
shirt
time,
goes
here we
even
go.
harder. I love the shirt.
Oh, damn.
Oh, that's a sharp one.
That is a nice
Right?
shirt. Bobby, you got a white one?
Great
Yeah,
material
mine's all
too,
white.
man.
Wait, did
So
you
shout
guys
out
see
to-
one
shout
for
out to
me
PXG.
in the pile anywhere? Or did I miss mine?
It's coming.
Josue,
Forgot
mail.
to check.
It's in the mail, Jimmy.
Josue, that looks really nice, man. Good for you.
Yeah, man. These are
Yeah,
nice.
I didn't know that's the one you got. That one looks amazing.
Maybe
don't miss out, guys.
Where's the hat?
Maybe Josue will
You got the
save one
hat?
for me.
It's here somewhere, Bobby.
It's somewhere.
But I got
It's
the
here
shirt for
Is
somewhere.
the
now.
hat blue too?
Yeah, it matches the shirt.
Awesome.
Oh, a little matchy. All right, I've got elevate your style
Yeah.
game on and off the course with PXG Spring Summer 2024 collection. Whether it's a blue matching polo hat or a white one that Bobby has, head over to pxg.com/garden, save 10% on all apparel. That's pxg.com/garden to save 10% on all apparel. I'm gonna have to. You know what? I'm gonna have to, regardless of what they send me, I'm gonna have to go over there and grab my own gear. Bobby, how'd the golf game go yesterday?
It was the first of the year, so you obviously had some rough stretches, but honestly, I had some really good.
Shades of Thanasis on the course.
No, I mean I'm not a disaster anymore, which makes it fun. Like as long as you keeping it in play and like just moving along, you feel good about being out there. When you first start, obviously though, and that's what I was going through like 2-3 years ago. You're hitting it in the water, you're hitting it over into the trees, like
That's
you're
golf,
just like.
baby.
Then you lose all your balls, and you're like, I'm done. I'm past that point, but I'm still not at the point where I'm like, going score for score with someone, or even just tracking my score.
Yeah.
Very deliberately. So
Get
I'll
some
be
fresh
there
air,
probably in a
get some
year.
exercise. Try to break 100 this year, Bobby. How about that?
Damn.
That's a good goal. It depends on the course, though. We did Presidents in Quincy
Nice.
yesterday, and
Did you
that's
really?
that's
They
challenging.
say,
That's not
say
that
a
far
bad
from
day
me.
on the course
What's up?
beats any day in the office,
Peabody, tough one. Peabody's a really tough one, but
You went
there's
down
some
to
other
Quincy?
ones around. Yeah, I went down to
I
Quincy.
know.
My cousin lives
I'm
down
down,
there.
if you're in the South Shore, hit me up, Bobby. You know where I'm at. I'm down here.
Yeah,
got
well, I
golf
think the
course-
Garden Report's supposed to have an outing soon enough. We'll see who wins.
Ooh, I would like that. I got to get to the range before that happens, though.
Yeah, same.
Got to get to the range. All right, boys. Anything else in this game or anything around the league that you want to hit on before we wrap it here?
Real quick, I don't know if we have a thing for it. I forgot to mention it, but shout out to Neemias Queta signing a
don't.
15th roster spot.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we called that
Congrats.
happening. I think you said it was going to happen at the last game of the year, but they gave him what? They gave him a little bonus, Bobby, for his troubles, or what? Like, what was the reasoning to wait or not wait to a certain time?
Probably Probably just did it to make sure they had him for all of the last 4 games if they needed him. Obviously, Porzingis and Horford were out tonight, but you didn't need him anyway. Things were locked up. I don't know exactly why they did the timing the way they did, but
Right.
sounds like it's a multi-year deal. That's not my reporting, but I saw that out there. I haven't locked down exactly what the structure is, but usually with something like this, you'd sign him for the rest of the year, have a non-guaranteed year, then you can restructure something over the summer to sign him long-term if you want to keep him. So it's just to get ahead of the free agency he was going to be facing, and probably don't need him in the playoffs now that Tillman's here, but it's not a bad idea to just have him. The only debate you'll have here is the one we had the other night of would you rather have him or would you rather have Banton at that last spot if you decide to just keep him around. So we had that talk already. People were very mad about our conversation, Josue, for some reason.
Oh yeah. That's always good. A lot of people saw it, so that's good. I was surprised how much people on Twitter were going back and forth about it. I didn't see it. I didn't think it would be that many people. But
I think
on what now?
I think the fan base is kind of split on this. The whole Banton thing. Like some people thought that he could have given these guys a spark. Now
the point is you had a guy capable of scoring 20, 30 points
Right.
in a game.
I think
who
that's
you
what
gave away for nothing.
Right. I think that's the case.
Listen, we know he wouldn't have played here. We know he wouldn't have done that here. But you didn't have to give him away for nothing.
Yeah.
Right. That's
granted
really
nowadays
what it comes down to.
There's like 40, 50 players, or maybe a little less than that, but around there that average 20, above 20 or around 20 or so. But I mean, I don't know if you can label him a 20-point scorer, though. It's one of those things where it's like, is the Portland Trailblazers going to ask him to reprise his role in training camp? Right. So it's like, but when you see it, you as Celtics fans, as people who want this team to be the best roster as possible, at this point, or at least trying to add on a couple of guys right before the playoffs. It makes you wonder about Banton.
Similar to Neesmith, Jimmy.
He was able to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's something that you have to lock down your role. That down, and if they don't feel comfortable with you locking that, regardless of how you look after that. But
yeah, it's similar to Neesmith. Only difference is you got something for Neesmith. You got Brogdon, and then that led to Holiday. So that makes it easier to deal with him going elsewhere and looking great. You didn't just cut Neesmith, which is effectively what you did with Banton. So that was my only point. It's not like that's going to change anything. It's not like you're bummed about being with Queta, because I still think Queta's a great find. I think he's a guy that can develop into something, maybe your backup one day. So amazing find. I said it last night, Jimmy, in my head. You always sat here and said, oh, why can't the Celtics find the Struces and the blah, blah, blahs? And you found them. You got one in Queta. So congrats. Good story. And congrats to the Maine Celtics, who are now 1 win from a championship.
In blowout fashion. Yeah, shout out to the Maine Celtics, man.
That's right. And if nobody will ever know how close we were to being there tonight for that game too. Nobody will ever know how close. But maybe next time.
If there's a game 3.
Last thing I'll leave you guys with is this. Bobby, you talked about how Tatum has to be the best player on the court. Wednesday night, the Knicks come to town.
Thursday.
Is it Thursday? Yeah, sorry. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday night, the Knicks come to town. Will Tatum... what I'm trying to say is the Knicks have a player on their team that could very well be the best player on the court, not just Thursday, but in a playoff series, in Jaylen Brunson. And this guy's had just an unbelievable season. Was in the MVP talks for a bit and all this stuff, and really is the pulse of that team. And the reason
45 points, 8 assists tonight.
He's just playing unbelievable, and it's too bad about Randall and all that stuff. But is this a potential second round matchup that you could see occurring? And if so, how dangerous is this Knicks team, even with the injuries they're going through? Can you take any stock Thursday, or is Thursday again another one of those doesn't matter? Regardless, rest a couple guys maybe. And
Yeah, let's see who plays, because if
Right.
you're missing 2 centers again,
right.
it's tough to take anything from it. I mean, you can sit
Right.
Porzingis, you can sit Horford. It's tough to sit them both. And you've won in the past in those spots, but against a Giannis Lopez kind of situation, it's a little bit tougher. Same would go against, OG and Hartenstein, who's been great, and Robinson, who's getting his feet back under him. So you take a little bit from this one. If they can pull off a win, I think that'll say something. If the Celtics win and advance to 5-0 against them this year, which they're now 4-0 going into it, I don't think anything changes. You feel good about beating that team. They're challenging. It's similar to the Heat. They play a style that would challenge you, that would maybe force you to a 6th and hopefully not a 7th game if you're the Celtics. But you have much more talent top to bottom than that team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You just have to play above the way the Knicks are going to try to muck up the game. And as we talked about earlier, winning crunch time. And fortunately, the Celtics, as they have for much of the season, have been able to pull away from the Knicks a couple times before crunch time. But they had one of their great crunch time efforts, interestingly enough, against the Knicks on opening night. Josue, you were there for that, right? The big Porzingis shots. Some good execution down the stretch of that game. A really close win. I think it was a 4-point game.
They were challenged for sure. Yeah.
And then I think you had another one like that with them too that you executed pretty well. And so it's a team I'd be picking the Celtics over, but I think it could potentially be the toughest team you see down the stretch, Philly and Miami aside.
Yeah, for sure. And I would love to see how the Celtics can do against someone like Brunson, defensively. See if they can limit him, make him uncomfortable. I feel like those quick score first point guards, sometimes they have the upper hand against the Celtics, and I just want to see if they can limit him to a mediocre stat line, because he seems to have a stellar night every time he plays Boston. So, but yeah, to Bobby's point though, win or lose, it's hard to take a lot of stock, out of this game or this matchup, because they're not going to play all their guys. You just wonder which ones are going to be, whose turn it is to take a break out of the
I think it could be the last run for the full group, and then sit people on Friday, the back-to-back, and then really Sunday, sit everybody on Sunday. Yeah.
You sit people for the Grant game?
I think so. You already beat him the other day.
Grant's dropping 20 that night.
Today.
Yeah, Grant is Grant is on PrizePicks. You're hammering more on PrizePicks.
I don't care what the number is. More, yeah, exactly.
I don't care what it is either.
Give him the benefit.
I hope
of the
he
doubt.
gets There's no way he's gonna decline a video, is there, Jimmy?
Oh my God!
No,
Are you kidding me, Bob? Bobby, he's
gonna do it himself and turn it into the Celtics.
Exactly.
Like, I made the best real guys. Don't worry, I got it covered.
Yeah, he's gonna grab the microphone and narrate through it. Oh yeah, this is the play where I hit this step back three.
He's gonna say a few words.
Thank everybody as if it's like a.
Yeah,
he had 12 points against his former Mavericks tonight. So 2 return games for Grant this week.
Wow, 12 points. Did they win or lose?
After signing a crazy contract.
Let's see. Hornets
Mavs probably won. Mavs are playing pretty well.
Yeah, Mavs won.
Mavs are playing well. You guys? All right, we're gonna end it there. We did over an hour tonight on, again, these games are meaningless to the Celtics, but the shows aren't meaningless to us, guys. We like hanging out.
That's right.
Chatting it up and breaking down parts of the game that might matter and talking about what else is going on in the league. That's the best we can do. These are the dog days, the very end of the dog days of the regular season. Tonight, we want to say one more time, congrats to he's your third center. What do you want for your third center? There you go. Taking down the Garden Report bracket in 2024. We will be back Thursday. I don't know if the Boomers will be back. I don't know where they're at, John and Sherrod.
Look at this boomer right here.
But they will be back.
Damn, Sherrod caught a stray.
Yeah, we love you. We love you, Sherrod. we love Sherrod. John, that changes daily. But we'll all be back this week, and we hope to see you guys. All right, so let me go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Amit.
real quick, shout out to the 2004 Red Sox, man. They're in the city. They got their flowers 20 years ago, or almost 20 years ago.
I can't believe it.
They broke the curse. Yeah, right, Jimmy? It's fucked up. But hey, time flies, right? And
then
it never
20
gets old,
years
man.
later, the
I
team
still get the
faded
butterfly.
into
I still get
irrelevancy.
the goosebumps and all that when I see those highlights. And yes, Bobby, that's still going to be what people are talking about after the outcome of that game. But it's nice to look back at 04. And of course, such a great emotional tribute to Tim Wakefield and just the rest. Like they're similar to what the Celtics do. You know, in terms of that, the people getting their flowers and all that, those pregame ceremonies and stuff, man, they're so good at that. And today was exactly what we've come to expect from this organization. But yeah, it's really cool to see a lot of those guys from the team back in the city.
You went
back at Fenway. No, I didn't go to the game, but I saw the ceremony.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
No, it looked like a great ceremony. You get the Red Sox shirt on, so I thought maybe you came from the game or something.
I know. No, I just feel like wearing it after watching that, to be honest with you.
Dude, that 04 team was unreal. I was at game 3. I was at game 3 of the ALCS when they got absolutely smoked. And
that Saturday when they got smoked, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was in the bleachers. I had a sign that said "Believe" that I was holding up. They were down like 18 or whatever. And the broadcast actually, if anyone has like a copy of the DVD, I'd love to see the clip. But they like showed me like with the sign.
It flashed it.
So you're in the 04 documentary.
I think so, and I think Joe Buck was like,
the dynasty.
He was like, not much to believe in anymore, and I was like, "F you, Joe Buck." Like, suck it. Sucks. Never lost after that.
He was such a Yankees fan.
So you're in the dynasty.
19-9 or something like that. Yeah, that was
Bobby.
That was it. That was the last game they lost.
I'm an integral part of the last 2 decades of success.
We gotta get you in this 2024 Celtics documentary somehow.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll throw a Garden Report clip in. Jimmy saying, "I don't believe in it."
I wonder. Yeah. I wonder
if third center's gonna make it.
4 days in October. But yeah, that was an unbelievable time. That was like, man, we didn't know how good we had it for those Red Sox.
I miss that team meaning something. I mean, it's good or bad. Them being irrelevant is brutal.
I know.
Just brutal.
And I used to be. So I think it goes for a lot of people probably watching the show too. Like we used to just be like Red Sox were the team. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just like you lived and died by.
Could you ever imagine the Celtics being this much more relevant than the Red Sox?
Yeah, right, Jimmy.
Well, back in the 80s, they were.
No, I mean like once the Red Sox went in 04 and really got rolling. Yeah.
No, but that 2007-8 Celtics team really put the Celtics pride back near where it needed to be, and it's stayed pretty level since then. I mean, the other teams have flowed. Yeah,
those Red Sox seasons.
So,
we used to know when Pedro was pitching.
Oh my God!
Everyone knew
the city would shut down. The city would stop. Everyone was appointment television. You can't even name 2 pitchers in the Red Sox right now. And unfortunately, all these pitchers are going down and getting hurt too. It's really a sad situation going on. But
Bayo's he's still healthy.
He's still good.
Started today, yeah.
We just lost Pavetta today, but we don't need to get into it. But
jeez.
But yeah, Sox, man. Hopefully they can get back to where they need to be someday. I don't know when. I don't know what needs to happen. I don't know if it's a Red Sox thing or it's a baseball thing or it's both.
No, it's a Red
But
Sox
man, that
thing.
Red Sox rivalry is just nothing right now. Nobody gives a crap about it. It's sad, man. It used to be like genuine hatred amongst fan bases for those 2 teams, and it was something that you just can't even explain, really. If you weren't there to live it, it's hard to even believe it. You know, but
it was everywhere too.
That was then. We'll see what happens. But right now, it's Celtics. It's Bruins. The Bruins are starting the playoff run coming up too. The TD Garden is going to be very busy. We hope that it's going to be a busy couple months at the TD Garden for both sides.
But the Bruins, it can't. There's no way it can finish worse than last year. That's what you're riding into the playoffs, holding your hope out.
If you are a Bruins fan, CLNS has a great Bruins podcast with Joe Haggerty, Hacks with Hags. Who can forget that? We'll kind of have some Red Sox content, I imagine, coming up strong. Evan Marinowski does a lot of good Bruins stuff too. So
what up, Evan?
Yes, sir. So keep it locked on CLNS, guys. We're gonna have you guys covered every which way. We get the NFL draft coming up too. I know Taylor's going hard on the draft coverage right now. So you want to hit up this the Patriots page on our YouTube site and follow them on Twitter. Nobody has a clue what the Pats are going to do at number 3. Nobody has a damn clue, and I love it. Nobody has a clue. Isn't it crazy? They could draft
There's
Daniels, they
nothing
could
more
draft
fun
May,
than
they could
talking
draft
about the draft.
McCarthy, they could trade
Yeah.
out. Like, I think we've narrowed it
Yeah.
down to like quarterback or a trade. Like, no one's saying Harrison anymore, but nobody has a clue who they're going to take. So, and I that includes me. And I don't know. I don't want to pretend to know who they should take because I really don't know. But
I think they'll trade out as a homage to Bill Belichick or no?
No.
I hope. I just hope they get the guy they want. If he's there, just freaking take him. If he's not, then yeah, trade it. That's really all I can ask for. All right, this is the final goodbye for real this time. I am going to hit the outro. We'll see you guys
We out.
Thursday. Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game.
Phenomenal.
Forfeit's out. I think it's an auction. That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair. What do you want for your third center?